They know they're going to have forest fires in California. They're not cleaning out the underbrush. They've been warned about it. They've been warned about it by no less than President Trump. The first time around in 2017, 2018, 2019, he was going at it with Newsom, who knows everything, by the way. Little dabble, do ya? You older people know what I mean, with his hair and everything. And I've said elsewhere, he reminds me of this guy, Trudeau. He's an incompetent buffoon, and yet he got elected. Trudeau now has resigned because he's very unpopular, but he's destroyed Canada, and Newsom is destroying California. Whether it's crime, whether it's immigration, whatever it is, he's destroying it. The ideologues are destroying it. This is a degrowth movement. What's going on in California is horrific, and we wish the people there all the best, and we pray for them, and they should know as a nation we will rally to them. They are fellow citizens. They didn't bring this upon themselves. You have people who've lost their lives, lost their pets, all kinds of wildlife being destroyed. You have property, homes, businesses being destroyed. You have museums being destroyed. The Will Rogers Museum was destroyed. I mean, this is serious stuff. This is the worst fire, as I understand it, in and around the Los Angeles area in recorded history. And the first responders, we want to thank them always. They have to go into harm's way. But I want to talk about something else right now related to this, and that is, this is in significant part due to the ideological incompetence of the people who run that state, California. California has enormous natural resources. It has access to the Pacific Ocean. It has the capacity to remove the salt from the water through desalination, as they do in Israel and other parts of the world, but they choose not to focus on that. In fact, they've destroyed the regular and reliable availability of water through regulations, through environmental rules, just through stupidity, because they're ideologues. You look at electricity. Electricity is not reliable. I mean, here we are, it's 2025. Electricity was invented over 100 years ago. I mean, it wasn't invented, it was found over 100 years ago, even more than that. The old story about Benjamin Franklin and the key on the kite. People even teach this anymore? I don't even know. But in any event, it's been around a long time, but not in California. You have brownouts and blackouts. You have other forms of economic dislocation because the government there is one-party rule. It is a radical government. It is a government that represents the quacks, the kooks, and the reprobates in this phony environmental movement. And look what this environmental movement has done. The air pollution, the water pollution, the destitution, the death of animals, the destruction of plant life, the destruction of human life, probably for many of them on the bottom of the totem pole, has been enormous. It's unprecedented. Because in part of their policies, I'm not saying that you can stop nature. I never said that. I would never say that. But you can address situations or prepare for situations you know that are not just possible but probable, given what part of the country you live in and what part of the country in which you are the governor or the legislature. I don't know how many more mass fires you're going to need in California until they clean out all that undergrowth. There's stories out there right now about how they have failed to do it. First they didn't do it, now they do it. They lie about how much they do, they got caught. Now they claim they'll do more, but they haven't done enough. When it comes to water, they've sabotaged themselves through a lot of give and take on politics with respect to the water. Does the water go to the farmers? Does the water go to the metropolitan areas? And the attack on the dike systems there and so forth and so on. It's terrible, terrible. And so here is the state that had really the most resources, certainly diversity of resources, beautiful state. Look what they've turned it into. A disaster, a third world disaster. It's because they rule by ideology. Ideology doesn't get things done. If I tell you to build a house and you're ideological about it, well, what kind of house are you going to build me? You want competent people. You want people who know what they're doing, and they need to do the things that they're supposed to do. We don't have any of that in the government of California right now. People need to be held to account. So they put the hoses on the hydrants and there's no water. They come up with every excuse in the book. Well, we're not used to this and the pressure's not there. Excuse me. Nobody's used to this. They prepare for it. I will give you an example. Florida. Nobody's used to hurricanes. but you need to prepare for them. And you have a government in Florida that prepares for them. People die, the damage is horrendous, but you're able to some extent, ameliorate it. So it isn't the catastrophe that it might otherwise be. In other words, worse. They know they're going to have forest fires in California. They're not cleaning out the underbrush. They've been warned about it. They've been warned about it by no less than President Trump. The first time around in 2017, 2018, 2019, he was going at it with Newsom, who knows everything, by the way. Little dabble, do ya? You older people know what I mean, with his hair and everything. And I've said elsewhere, he reminds me of this guy, Trudeau. He's an incompetent buffoon, and yet he got elected. Trudeau now has resigned because he's very unpopular, but he's destroyed Canada, and Newsom is destroying California. Whether it's crime, whether it's immigration, whatever it is, he's destroying it. The ideologues are destroying it. This is a degrowth movement. I've written about it in American Marxism. I wrote about it in Liberty and Tyranny. It's not an environmental movement. That's an excuse. It's a degrowth movement. And that's why they want to limit the amount of electricity, the amount of water, the amount of the necessities that you need to survive, so people leave, or they can control people. They're power hungry. Okay, you are using too much energy. You are using too much water. You can't water your lawn. You can only buy gasoline on even days. You can only buy it on odd days. And then you have this effort to force people to live in tighter and tighter quarters, to increase the density. This is going on now. It's all hands in the Biden regime on this issue, including HUD, which is making it more difficult for localities to approve single-family homes at the zoning level, the local level. They want people compacted into these tight apartments and condos. They want you to use public transportation, which they will not protect you on. It's dangerous as hell. They want to get you out of the automobile. This whole push for electrical vehicles, this is really a push to what I'll coin as demobilization, to make it really impossible for you to travel or travel at any length for any length of time. They don't have the charging stations. The electrical grid could never handle everybody on with electric vehicles. They really want you to get into subways, to buses, to whatever it is, and they don't want you to have the mobility that you like. Live in these tight quarters like tenements, the turn of the last century. Tenements. Now, why do they want that? To control you. That's why. And then when you do it, like in New York, what do? They hit you with what? A congestion tax. So they create congestion, more and more people in a smaller and smaller area, and then they tax you for it. Why not? They can do pretty much whatever they want to do. So here we have a problem with water in Los Angeles. The mayor was in Africa. She waited a few days to come back. She cut the fire department's budget by almost $18 million in November, when she was warned by the chief of the fire department that this could hurt. And so the localities, at least in this case LA, the state, they're just not prepared. And I don't care how much money and time they have, they're never going to be prepared, because that's not how their minds work. They're ideologues.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.